Welcome to a Skin Depth Convo. I'm Anna Kagarakis. This is a show focused on educating and inspiring all those in the skincare and beauty industry. But it is also a show for those looking for ways to improve themselves from the inside out. Or maybe you're looking to further your beauty education with a little help and entertainment along the way. And we'll have plenty of that thanks to our expert host, Metaxia and Francine Kagarakis, part of the founders of Lira Clinical, and also joining us today, fellow owner as well, Brenda Cumming. Thank you so much all for joining us. First up, I gotta just say, we all just came back from going to Denver. You ladies were taking some beautiful headshots. Brenda, you're in the Denver area, and I absolutely love the area. Let's talk about the trip a little bit and the fun time that we had out there.
I wish you could have stayed longer. We didn't really have, that much time to explore. I wanted to take you up to where I live, west of Denver in the foothills. But downtown Denver's cool. It's busy. I made you go on a carriage ride and it was freezing.
And knowing Brenda, she takes every minute and takes it to the extreme. So not only were we there 24 hours, but we did so much within those 24 hours.
Learned it from you. What are you talking about?
Your pace for us leaving California and going to Denver. It's such a beautiful, beautiful city. And it was the first time Fran and I actually did a carriage ride. And I videotaped it, and it was, I think I'm still laughing for the experience that we shared with you. And thank you for that, Brenda. I could take it off my bucket list.
We're going to do it again when it's warmer.
I think we're going to need to get 2 bikes because there was 3 of us on one bike that fits 2.
He was working hard.
He was pushing quite a bit, and he took us through the street and all the cars were running behind us.
And he did really well.
He's
Fran
strong.
just kept nudging me. Look behind, look behind. We're in the lane and the cars are right behind us. Just the experience. It was, I think, 11 o'clock at night. We saw the clock tower. It was an experience. It was a beautiful night, full moon. It's a really nice time to share with all 4 partners and just having fun. It was a good experience.
Did you
The
do the
next
wave
time-
of beauty, like the beauty queen wave?
We did.
Did
The
we
thing
do
is,
that?
next time we're going to actually take the blanket from the bike and put it on us instead of sit on it. And this way,
No, next time it'll be warmer, friend. It'll be better.
a lot of fun though. We had a great time and we had a nice seafood dinner. We had some wine and we had some cocktails, which was very nice. And then the next day, I guess, what happened, Brenda?
Oh, the one time I don't want my rosacea to show up, it presented itself front and center. Right before pictures, of course.
Of course, it
Thank
always has to
God.
be a time.
Thank God that we have our nice green clover concealer because that is a game changer. And you don't have to wear as much makeup.
Well, I'm excited for everyone to see the pictures because all of you looked absolutely beautiful. The rosacea did not show at all, Brenda. You looked absolutely gorgeous. So all 4 of you looked so beautiful in your pictures, and we'll be showing some pictures and video of that as well. Speaking of rosacea, April is National Rosacea Awareness Month, and rosacea actually affects millions of people around the globe, 16 million here, more than 16 million in the United States. It is a very widespread facial condition. It is chronic, but let's talk about what rosacea is. What is rosacea and who does it affect?
Well, there is no pathogenesis of what it is. We don't know exactly what rosacea is, but there's many different theories out there. One of the ones that we have is a vascular inflammatory response that is directly related to the sensory nervous system. And so that's one of the theories that we have out there. The other one where Brenda and I usually discuss is the follicular mites, but with everybody doing all these aggressive treatments on the skin, the barrier is actually compromised. So we do allow the flora on the skin to be imbalanced where there
I
is.
agree with you on that.
Okay, so that's one of the theories that we have there. The other one, of course, is the immune system. And when the immune system's weakened again as part of that barrier function, things aren't working properly. And then one that we should be discussing is health does begin in the gut and the digestive issues that we deal with. So there's many different theories, and we really are dealing with the symptoms, and this is where we work with in aesthetics.
Well, when you add stress to all the other things, your differentials that you just mentioned, that has exacerbated everything that you just said.
Daily living.
Who's not stressed right now?
Right.
The skin has a way to talk to us, and I think it's talking to us and communicating to us that there is an issue, and the issue is sensitivity, that there's signals, the redness, and there is signs that we can actually notice that there is a need for us to address certain things that we can avoid, some of the triggers that, cause it. But the skin does talk to us, and this is visual, and we can learn a lot and actually watch the inflammation or watch the redness reduce. I think it's something that we confuse with inflammation versus rosacea. There is definitely a diagnosis that you should get. And Brenda, you said a lot of your patients come after being diagnosed.
To be diagnosed with rosacea, it should be performed by a physician. And then a lot of times they'll take that information and come into a med spa or see an esthetician and say, well, they put me on this, and they try it for a while. And I'm not debunking anything. I'm just saying that a lot of times some of those treatments don't work because, as Fran had mentioned earlier, a lot of it starts internally. And if you have acne rosacea, yes, there are treatments prescribed by a physician that you need, but then there's so many things that estheticians can do, nurses and med spas, to help calm down that inflammation and treat it.
That's the first thing we need to do, is deal with the inflammation. So if you're sensitive or if you have rosacea, the first thing we deal with is inflammation.
And calming it down.
Okay,
Yes.
so first things first, the most important first is to first go get diagnosed for having rosacea, and then go to a med spa, a skincare professional, and then we work on actually approaching the treatment. But before we talk about the actual treatment, what are things that can actually trigger rosacea?
Drinking and going on a carriage ride, having to be up at 7
Wait a minute.
a.m.
You know what? We were reducing stress. The truth of the matter is, with a cocktail and a bike ride at night, a lot of fun, we were reducing stress. But faulty digestion is something that we do deal with. I mean,
Oh,
we
because
have
we
to
ate
talk
so
about
well that night too, didn't we?
it.
How many desserts did we order?
3.
Yeah, when you drink and then you eat carbs, that converts to sugar, and sugar is inflammatory.
Right.
So I did it to myself, but I loved it.
Does exercise also, can that trigger rosacea as well?
You know, when you heat up your body, it can make you look more inflamed, appear to be more inflamed. If you're working out, or you drink alcohol, or you eat spicy foods, drink a lot of red wine, all those triggers, you know, will make you look your face more inflamed.
So how do you manage triggers, and should you just give up everything, or is
No.
there a way to, you know, how do you manage it?
You use green clover.
Green
underneath
clover when you're getting photo shoot, and then, or when you're at trade shows. But trying to eat better, don't stop working out, drink more water, try to recognize actually what does trigger you. A lot of mine is getting on an airplane, changing climates. And then of course, the way we run at 90 miles per hour. That's just how we roll. Just knowing, okay, these are going to be my triggers, and then having the appropriate skincare products to calm down my inflammation.
Can you kind of share your personal journey and how you've treated it over the years?
I was told by a dermatologist that I had rosacea. They probably did, but you know, when you're a young mother and have little kids, who notices? He pointed it out. He's a good friend of mine, and did a microderm abrasion on me, because that's the first treatment you do.
Sorry to laugh,
Metaxia.
Brenda. Sorry to laugh, Brenda.
And then my face, he put me on retina A, and then my face got so red and so swollen, and it was my birthday, and my face was probably 2 or 3 times the size that it is now. And so then that was on a Friday, and then on Monday he's like, well, do you want me to put you on steroids? And I was like, no. And then I just started like paying attention to what was really going on, trying to get my red face to calm down. I was probably pretty red when I met Fran and Metaxia. Metaxia would probably tell me, you know, that I was pretty red back then. And I just started with opening up my med spa and learning about skincare and falling in love with skincare and learning ingredients, and started getting on professional skincare. And I started seeing a difference. And then Metaxia would treat my face, and I started really getting my skin in shape. And I have to attribute, I mean, I've always exercised, but I do have to attribute home care as being probably the most important. And then also intermittent pulse light, IPL, really several treatments of that really helped reduce that telangiectasia. So you're not walking around looking red all the time. It's been a journey for sure.
I have to add to that, Brenda. When we first met you, your skin texture was different. I could tell you from the past 20 years, I think your skin has gotten better and better and more youthful. I think you've treated your skin differently. I don't see rosacea. I think you are more aware of it. But when we took the headshots, your skin looked absolutely beautiful. I see this is where we could offer this education and offer these products and offer this type of success that you've achieved to a lot of people who've suffered, because lining up next to you, you have no signs of rosacea. It's amazing what you've done in your journey. And I would love for most people to have the confidence that you have, that, you know, rosacea is a condition, but can be treated successfully. Actually, your skin looks better as you get older. It doesn't have those signs of the lingering or the growing stages or additional stages of rosacea. Your skin looks fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that morning with pictures, you know, I did have to apply a little bit. Thank God for that green clover. We need to promote that more, because it's a game changer.
Well, you look beautiful. You're very hydrated,
Yeah.
and your skin is even toned. So it makes a big difference. And you brought your skin barrier back.
I did, but I have to say Metaxia helped me too. She broke it down.
Yeah.
She broke it down
Well,
to my knees, and then we built it back up. So it was awesome.
I know it's hard to kind of encompass all of it because it's been a while. It took a while to actually go through all the treatments and figure everything out. What
Yeah, it
worked.
doesn't happen in one day for sure.
Right. So then what did you find worked best for you personally?
The home care, getting some appropriate peels and getting IPL.
I think what I've learned from Brenda is that she knows her rosacea, so she addresses it right away. And like she said, that she's definitely aware and has all the right products to feed the inflammation, bringing it down and being aware of it. I think if you're aware of it, you could avoid it getting worse. So the fact that she'd had the green clover, the fact that she really knew how to rehydrate her skin and drink a lot of water, but you definitely learn how to correct your own rosacea.
Okay.
I have an unusual question for you, Brenda. You do cardio and you also do yoga.
Mhm.
Does your rosacea flare more with cardio?
Well, I don't do hot yoga, so I would have to say more cardio.
So
I
yoga's
don't
a
know,
good
honestly,
rosacea.
I maybe should pay more attention, but usually I'll get red, and even with working out, I don't get that red anymore. It's more stress, changing climates, flying, Friday night, maybe having an extra cocktail or eating foods that have a lot of starchy carbs.
So what I'm getting here is we don't want people with rosacea to stop exercising because
No.
exercise helps reduce stress at the end of the day.
Yep.
So we do want them out there doing some walking, yoga, and even some cardio because at the end of the day, it does reduce stress.
Yes, absolutely.
And you just have to understand yourself is really what it sounds like, understanding your limits, understanding your triggers, and kind of managing around them. So now let's kind of go into the actual skincare. How should people actually treat their rosacea? You know, when they actually go to an esthetician, to a skincare professional, how should they approach treating rosacea?
I think what the most important thing is that estheticians are being more knowledgeable on how to treat rosacea now. There's a lot more literature out there. There's a lot more classes out there. We did a class in Chicago and it was greatly attended. People know that a rosacea is a condition and they're trying to find resources and products that will help. But inflammation is definitely an aging term now that we're using in the industry, but addressing the inflammation will actually help the rosacea. So having the right products and ingredients to help with inflammation and the first signs or the signs of rosacea is really key.
So what kind of products then? Like what kind of ingredients are important for dealing with rosacea?
Anti-inflammatories.
Yeah,
Those
anything
are
that's going to
key.
calm the skin down.
We have to remember one of our key ingredients is mastija. That's that resin from the tree. And one of the key things it does is anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, helps quite a bit with rosacea. The other thing is, of course, resveratrol, which is a very powerful anti-inflammatory and antioxidant at the same time. But what we have to remember is when somebody walks in with rosacea, there's different levels of rosacea. And the first two levels, usually estheticians are able to calm it down with products and treatments that help quite a bit. But what we have to remember when you have a higher level of rosacea, this is where you do have to bring in a medical professional to actually help.
There's 4 different stages of rosacea, and they definitely get worse and worse if you don't address them and try to avoid it getting worse. Brenda brought up that it could even get into your eyes, which is also dangerous.
And so there's 4 different levels of rosacea. What happens if rosacea is left untreated?
Well, if it creeps into stage 4, it can get into the eyes and possibly cause blindness. Well, usually you present with redness, irritation, itchiness, and sometimes that can be a precursor for a doctor to think that maybe some rosacea is going to start on the face.
What is that called, Brenda?
Ocular rosacea.
That's right.
But it can also make your nose look really red and bulbous, and that's called rhinophyma, which is a red bulbous nose. It's more unsightly than, causing any kind of concern. It's a red flag, to a provider looking at a patient like that, looking at their nose. Usually there's more. The concerning part is when it gets into your eyes.
When it gets into your nose, that's kind of disfiguring.
It is. It's red, bulbous. W.C. Fields had stage 4 rosacea, and they kind of made it, humorous. Like maybe that was part of his gig, because I don't really remember. I just remember my parents watching him, but I think everybody thought he was a big drinker, and maybe he was. I don't know, but
Could have been a trigger, right?
Could have been.
Well,
And
maybe alcohol was a trigger. I don't know. I'm not saying.
Right.
we also had an ophthalmologist assistant come to one of our trade shows, and she was showing us pictures of certain patients that came in. And this is where, again, the follicular mites were part of the issue that they had. And they had pictures of the mites on people's eyelids. So they were looking for certain products to help with rosacea. And we are able to actually help with rosacea by calming down inflammation, and giving them products that can exfoliate properly. We're not allowing the skin to get too inflamed.
Well, you mentioned the mastiha, and I have to say that mastiha is a miracle ingredient for us, all the medicinal values that it has, but it addresses inflammation. It restores the epidermis, and it is proven that it is helpful with rosacea and inflammation.
Yeah, you guys have been on the forefront about Masica, and it's getting very, very popular now. But let's talk about some other products. Is it true that you should not use retin-A, retinol, retinaldehyde on those with rosacea?
Regular retin-A, no. Retinol, you have to be very careful.
I experienced that, Fran. I was first got diagnosed when I was in my 30s, which, by the way, was just 2 years ago. But I saw a dermatologist and a friend of mine, and he put me on prescription retin-A. And I was already had visible signs of rosacea. I was pretty red. And what did that do? Made me redder, more irritated. And on my own, I just stopped using it. I mean, didn't use it for years until I got into the aesthetic industry.
And then to use it, you had to actually rebuild your barrier, right? Your skin barrier.
Oh,
Your skin
what
could tolerate.
barrier? I didn't have a barrier. It was really compromised.
And that's what we normally have to do, is rebuild the skin barrier so you can do more treatments for anti-age, pigmentation, and acne. So you do need to rebuild the skin barrier. But what we also have to remember, there is new technology out there. And the new technology allows us to use a retin-A that is not as inflammatory, and it is retinaldehyde. But retinaldehyde was not as stable in the past. But we're excited to talk about hydroxysomes, because now we're able to stabilize retinaldehyde, allowing the retinaldehyde to go into the skin in a 24-hour period. So it's nice to say we can deliver retinaldehyde into the skin to tighten and brighten the skin and help with rosacea, and to also help build the barrier through calcium and hydration. So we are able to deal with clients and patients with rosacea through retin-A if you're using the right technology.
Now talking about, retin-A, retinol, retinaldehyde, if given the right delivery system, what's the importance of each of these components to someone who's actually been diagnosed with rosacea?
Improvement, anti-inflammatory, where we're calming down the skin and allowing and building the skin barrier. And what we have to remember, with repeated vasodilation, this weakens the capillary walls, creating another condition known as telangiectasia.
Yep, telangiectasia presents on the face, and a lot of people say I have broken capillaries on my face. They're not broken. What happened is, as you said, your skin is compromised. It's probably too thinned out, and these capillaries rise to the surface and are present. And some of them are distended and red, and then some of them are like just tiny and a little superficial. But if you can get that treated, that is a huge game changer.
But I think the retinaldehyde that we are talking about with the delivery system actually builds collagen, and we lose collagen. So by building collagen, what you're doing is putting that wall back up so it's not visible.
Right. And the ProRetinol Plus is the product that we're talking about that has hydroxysomes with retinaldehyde, but it also has hydroxysomes with adenosine, which actually helps with collagen and elastin, and building the skin up is what we're trying to do. And the other thing it has also is hydroxysomes with resveratrol. And again, strong, potent anti-inflammatory and antioxidant. So we're stimulating collagen and elastin, we're calming down inflammation, and we're also tightening and brightening the skin, all at the same time as we're putting in hydration. So those are key factors when we're dealing with rosacea.
What about good old vitamin C?
Oh, we love our vitamin C. We can use that too. And you have to change products also. You don't use the same product all the time. You have to change them up. And our beautiful Biohydra C is really our number one product for rosacea.
Because what's in it?
4 forms of vitamin C. We also have probiotics in there.
Probiotics.
Probiotics.
Why not protect that microbiome?
Right. And our C15, 15% of BVOSC, lipid soluble C, and it's anti-inflammatory, very strong. Again, what we're doing is stimulating collagen and brightening and tightening the skin and calming it down.
What you guys are both saying is that you can put ingredients and actually treat the skin in a way to build it back up. You could actually do even treatments with your esthetician. There is ways to actually treat rosacea and stimulate it by keeping it safe, keeping the inflammation down, and still building up the wall, the collagen and the elastin in the epidermis. So there is many, many benefits of now that we can do treatments on rosacea skin and deliver products that we couldn't in the past.
For those who have rosacea, but they're reluctant to treat other skincare conditions, whether it's acne or something else, they sometimes fear that that might actually trigger a flare up. How do you avoid that issue?
Well, I mean, there might be a little downtime initially when you start in a treatment regime. So, some of the bad gets worse, but then it quickly gets better. Again, starting with calming the inflammation down is already going to make a patient look better. They're going to look a little clearer, a little calmer. And then you can go after the acne. Sometimes that's hand in hand, which is why we came out with our C4 serum years ago, which just has a little bit of retinol in there to help with that acne rosacea.
And I like that because you have to remind somebody walks in and they're inflamed. Yes, we're going to give them product. Yes, we're going to calm down their skin, but we also want to remind them this is internal at the same time.
Correct.
Stress is something that you have to deal with. Tell them, walk around the block, take a deep breath. So as we're applying these products, you also want to remind them to do what they can do to reduce stress. Watch the alcohol, have a little once in a while, because again, we want to reduce stress, do some exercise, and try to take a deep breath and say, we can do this, be positive about it, drink more water, walk a little more, and use the right products.
Yeah, it's been rough for the last 2 years.
Mhm.
People are just, getting back out, going back to work. Now they're dealing with maybe weight gain, more inflammation. They haven't maybe taken care of themselves. It's a good opportunity for them to begin to start taking care of themselves.
Are there any products or ingredients that people with rosacea should avoid?
Harsh exfoliating ingredients. I think that there has to be a balance in the formulation of products are really important. Our formulations are always multifaceted where it benefits the exfoliation sometimes and benefits the hydration, but the formulation of ingredients in products are really very important at this stage because you still need to stimulate, you still need to hydrate. And I think formulations and technology have changed so that, I would definitely go to a strict retinol cream. I would think that would be too harsh because it only would deliver exfoliant benefits, not the balancing of the epidermis. So I think technology has changed, and I think our formulas have given a multifaceted type of results.
And glycolics would not be your first
No,
cleanser to go to. I learned that the hard way.
salicylic, straight.
I can do salicylic now,
You
but
can?
You know why you're doing it, Brenda? Because we have the healing peptide
but
delivery.
that's what I was. But also, yes, but I've also gotten my skin to tolerate.
Yeah.
I've built it up. I've gotten that better barrier, more improved, so I can use that occasionally.
But Brenda, do you compare that, like our salicylic cleanser is not the same as other salicylic
Not
cleanser.
even close, no.
Right.
Because what do we have, Fran?
We call it the healing peptide delivery.
Healing peptide delivery system. Yes, and that is
Protects
huge.
the skin as it delivers acids.
You
And
are
that's
right.
the type of product that you need to use. We need to protect the skin as we deliver the acids into the skin. So that makes a big difference. So yes, people with rosacea need to use products that are multifunctional, but they have to protect the barrier. And this is where the philosophy comes in with Lira, is that we are protecting the barrier as we're correcting.
Well, it's the technology that Lyra offers. I think we offer the latest in technology of delivery systems, of the quality of the ingredients. I mean, there's levels of quality of ingredients out there. We always are searching for the best.
Okay, so if you do have those triggers, or if you accidentally use something you're not supposed to use on your skin, what can you do initially to help reduce that redness pretty quickly, or as quickly as possible?
Cool your face down. Keep your face cool. I think heat generates more inflammation. So if you notice that you've triggered, even putting a cold compress, I think it's important to bring down the heat. That would be number one for me.
We brought up something that was, we use a lot of Zooms, and there was somebody with rosacea. And when they heard something that we said, you saw their rosacea from the neck come right on up. That is systemic, of course, because that was emotional. That's the adrenals being triggered. It took a while, and this particular person stayed red for a while. Like Metaxia is saying, you can keep them cool, but if they're not very happy and they're a little upset and their adrenals are flaring at that point, you just got to calm it down internally.
Well, you're not going to share who the person is, but that we know when we irritate a certain member. That's because of the visual.
They're not talking to me about me, audience.
No, that's talking about you. But I can tell you, skin talks to you.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Well, what are some misconceptions about rosacea? Maybe something that's also misunderstood.
That you cannot do corrective treatments on the skin. You can.
And I think also that it only happens to certain skin types.
Oh, yes. It's
Yeah.
all skin types now, all Fitzpatrick skin.
That was a very important point what you guys brought up, because it was always towards the lighter skin tones.
Mhm.
Now we're seeing it in multiple skin tones. So it's not just for the lighter, paler skin. It shows up in all.
Yes.
Yeah. Was it usually like thought in like certain regions of the world, but now I don't know if it's maybe because more of us.
Northern Europeans.
Yeah.
Like me. We're not supposed to be outside, but then we are, and we just get red. Yes.
You know, what about sun protection? Obviously, your family comes from an area that's not has as much sun, but how important is sun protection?
I
It's
think
probably the
huge.
best product you can use. Like if it was good, if you had to pick one product, it would probably have to be one of our sunscreens.
BBs, Brenda, the
And
BBs.
the BBs. Yes, that's what I
breathable.
use.
The breathable mesh that reduces the heat is really, I find really good if you're treating someone with rosacea.
It calms down the inflammation and it hides some of that redness. And I'm glad you brought that up because that is probably one of my most favorite products we have.
Mhm.
And that's why these products are formulated with powerful anti-inflammatories and antioxidants. So we
Right.
can deal with all skin types. They all need SPF and EPF factors, both.
And then what about brightening agents? How do they contribute to treatment?
Well, Lira is 98% of brightening ingredients. So I think anything you put on your skin that has a Lira label is going to benefit all conditions, especially rosacea.
All of our brightening agents are always accompanied with an anti-inflammatory. And when your brightening agent has an anti-inflammatory, we're targeting all skin conditions.
But you also brought up something that when you have rosacea, it's not just you have rosacea. You probably have other conditions within the rosacea family. You might have some pigment. You might have some dehydration. You might have some aging factors. So, when we treat skin, we just don't treat it for a condition. We treat it for multiple benefits of multiple conditions that you might not see visually right away.
Agreed.
All right. So before we go, I want each of you to give your best advice, like one quick line. What's your advice to somebody who approaches you who has rosacea?
For me, my best advice is that there is a lot more to offer, that you can reduce inflammation and you can avoid it getting worse, and having fun, and don't be stressed over little things. I think life is stressful enough, but really rosacea is something that we can get good results with if we treat it right.
Seek professional help. Try not to treat it yourself.
Nice.
Go into professional and have them help you with your concerns. Don't try not to buy products over the internet or get
Yeah.
internet advice.
Good point, Brenda.
And the last thing I have to say is don't be afraid to go professional and get all your skin conditions taken care of. It's not just rosacea. We could do it all. Today's technology and skincare has changed and we can make a difference. You are able to calm down inflammation. You are able to take care of pigmentation, anti-age, and we can reduce acne even when you have rosacea.
Fantastic. Lots of great advice. Well, thank you so much, Brenda, for sharing your personal journey with us. And thank all of you for some amazing information about rosacea. And you can actually find out more information by going to liraclinical.com. Also go to rosacea.org. There's a lot of great information on there about rosacea, National Rosacea Awareness Month. So go ahead and check that out. And if you have any questions, you could always reach out to our team, Skin Depth Convo at liraclinical.com. That's Skin Depth Convo at liraclinical.com. And again, thank you guys so much for joining us today. A lot of great information. And I can't wait to get back to Denver and visit you again, Brenda.
I can't either. We'll stay longer this time.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on the podcast. I enjoyed it.
And of course, thank you to all of you for listening to a Skin Depth Convo. That will do it for us today. Thank you so much for listening.